am Matthew from Miscellaneous Debris, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling on Tap. Before we get started, if you do like what you hear on the channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can always hit us up on Twitter at Miscellaneous Debris, and you can also hit us up on Facebook at Miscellaneous Debris Channel. And also, if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always hit me up on the emails. We got one for Wrestling on Tap. It is, oddly enough, wrestlingontap@gmail.com. Once again, that email address is wrestlingontap@gmail.com. Just hit me up if you have any questions. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started with previewing Backlash 2018, coming to you live this Sunday on the WWE Network. So let's just start with Braun Strowman and Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was obviously thrown together after that big six-man tag that they had. Now, the only thing I can see coming out of this match is Kevin and Sami need to stay strong. So my assumption is that Kevin and Sami are going to go over in some way, shape, or form, whether it be by count-out, disqualification, or some other form of cheap chicanery. I'm glad Sami and Kevin were put onto Raw after the Superstar shakeup because they really had gotten stale on SmackDown, and Kevin Owens never really hit his full potential on SmackDown. He was feuding with AJ Styles over the United States Championship when he came over at the last Superstar shakeup. Really hasn't done much since, tied up in that whole Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon mess ever since last October, ever since Hell in a Cell. So I'm glad that they're out of that whole scheme and back on Raw so they can kind of have a fresh start. But I think that they are going to be those type of heels that either Finn Balor or Seth Rollins would be if they were heel, where, you know, the smart fans will cheer for them, but the casual fans will boo. Unlike Roman Reigns, where everyone will boo, Strowman really isn't doing much. I mean, he really doesn't need the win. He can stand to have a loss. He just won the Greatest Royal Rumble with that shiny new belt and that shiny new trophy. So I think the best route to go is to put Sami and Kevin over. But I also see an opportunity here to turn Lashley. He's not really getting that much of a pop, even for a returning superstar. So I think that the best route to go with him is to turn him heel, give him some sort of heel persona, heel personality, because we really haven't seen that much from Lashley these past few weeks since his return. So I think that the best route to take him in is to turn him heel. Now, with Strowman, he can turn on Strowman. That's the easiest way to do it. Maybe even he himself is the one that causes Sami and Kevin to win. But I think that's the best route to go. So my pick for this match is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating Lashley and Strowman, but Lashley turning heel in the process. Now, next up, there's Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Now, this is an interesting one because supposedly Daniel Bryan, when he came back, he requested to work with younger talent to try and help get them over. And I think that Big Cass has shown in the last 2 weeks that he does have some sort of personality, or at least he's been working on it, especially since turning heel. The ACL injury did kind of hinder his momentum, but I think coming back into a feud with Daniel Bryan, I think it's going to do wonders for him. And if Daniel wants to work this program with Big Cass and, you know, get him over in the process, then who am I to say that he shouldn't be wrestling Big Cass at Backlash? It's his first feud back. You don't want to put him into the main event right away. You want to let things marinate and let things progress naturally. So I think that feuding with Big Cass and Big Cass showing the potential that he has with Daniel Bryan, I think that this is a perfect match. And I think that Big Cass does need to win on Sunday in order to keep this momentum. Daniel Bryan's just like Braun Strowman. He doesn't need the win. He's got the momentum already. He's got the fans behind him. He can stand to take a loss, but Big Cass really can't stand to take that loss. He needs this win in order to propel his heel persona that he's been perpetuating these last 2 weeks. So I think that within this little feud here, I think that Big Cass needs to go over in this match at least. I'm sure they're going to have, you know, a series of matches, whether they be on SmackDown or on these co-branded pay-per-views. I think that the best route to go is for Cass to win and to continue this feud a little bit longer. And like I said, if Daniel Bryan wants to do it, if he's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. Let's move over to the women on this card. The first one being Carmella, the SmackDown Women's Champion, defending against Charlotte. I was at the SmackDown Live that when Carmella cashed in her Money in the Bank after WrestleMania. It was an absolute riot to see live. It was great to see the Iconics involved. And, you know, I think that this program on SmackDown involving Charlotte, Carmella, Asuka, Becky Lynch, and the Iconics, I think is a really, really good way to start blending the old with the new on SmackDown Live. Now, everything that they've done since WrestleMania has not hit on all cylinders. They are still relying very heavily on all the women being involved in the program instead of having a one-on-one straight feud. In saying that, you are pairing everyone together for a reason. So Carmella, while she is really, really good on the mic, she hasn't really been given a chance to shine since last summer when she won the Money in the Bank contract. Pairing her with the Iconics, who are absolutely fantastic on the mic, and you know they're decent hands in the ring. They're not the greatest wrestlers in the world. They're not the greatest workers in the world. But the pairing of those three, they complement each other very well because the arrogance lies in all three of them, but the mic skills are definitely on the Iconics front. The wrestling skills maybe more on Carmella's front, but I think it's a good pairing, and I think that Charlotte, you know, keeping in line with Becky Lynch and keeping in line with Asuka, I think that this feud is actually going to progress further into a more personal route with Charlotte and with Carmella. I don't see Charlotte winning the title back. I think Carmella needs to stay the champion at least until Midsummer, maybe even SummerSlam, if she can keep the heel momentum going with the Iconics. And I think with the Iconics, Carmella's potential is greater with the Iconics backing her up than without the Iconics backing her up. With Charlotte, that's a different story. So at WrestleMania, she defeats Asuka, takes away the winning streak, which I don't like streaks to begin with because things like this happen. You know, the person that loses the streak, Asuka in this case, loses her streak at WrestleMania and then loses on her first match on SmackDown. I know she didn't get pinned, but her team got pinned, and everyone makes a big deal out of it, you know, like, oh, it's your first loss on SmackDown. So what? You know what? This is why you don't do streaks, and if you do streaks, don't break the damn thing, because the person's never going to be the same afterwards, and I think it's going to take a little bit more time to build up Asuka in the eyes of fans. For instance, when Brock Lesnar came back all those years ago and lost his first match to John Cena, it took a little bit of time for Lesnar to get his mojo back and get that title back on him and become the beast that he is. Now, is this the same? Is Asuka like Brock Lesnar? No, they're in completely different leagues. But at the same token, there is a stigma that went along with them. Now, when Charlotte broke that streak, that stigma was then passed on to Charlotte. Charlotte then lost the title on the Tuesday after WrestleMania. Now, a lot of people thought that was a bad move. I don't think that was a bad move at all because, like I said, I don't like streaks to begin with. So as far as I'm concerned, the streak never should have been there. So Charlotte just beats Asuka and then, you know, gets duped by the Iconics, and Carmella cashes in. It's a perfect story. I really don't see what the whole backlash was about it. I was surprised and I was shocked that it happened, but you know what? Good for Charlotte and good for the WWE for being able to roll with Charlotte Flair being the one to break that streak. Now, in saying that, I don't think Carmella is anywhere near as talented as Charlotte or Asuka, but I do think that she is a really good heel, and in this role, I think she's doing wonders. So I hope it continues. I hope that she picks up the victory at Backlash, and we'll see where it goes from there. Now, on to Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss over on the Raw brand. Now, unlike Charlotte and Carmella, which actually feels like a title rematch, Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss kind of feels like filler at this point because the attention on the women's division on Raw is more focused on Ronda Rousey, and I think that Alexa Bliss has become a moot point over on Raw, and the moment of Bliss PSAs on Monday Night Raw are absolutely gold. Do not get me wrong, I do love those, but the match itself doesn't feel very important. They really haven't put a significant chunk of time with the Nia and Alexa Bliss storyline going forward after WrestleMania, after Nia won the belt. So I don't think anything is going to change on Raw. I think Nia is going to keep the belt. Alexa Bliss will more than likely start turning babyface after this whole feud, and then feud with Mickie James. That's my guess. But we'll see where it goes from here. Like I said, I really hope that they do more with the women on Monday Night Raw. other than just focusing all of their attention onto Ronda Rousey and to Natalya, which, don't get me wrong, Natalya is a good worker and she's a decent hand, but she's no Alexa Bliss. I'm sorry. That's just all there is to it. Let's go ahead and move on to the secondary titles on Raw and SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship and with the United States Championship. Let's start with the U.S. Championship first. So you got Randy Orton challenging Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship. Two baby faces. Their one-upsmanship in terms of their entrances is what this feud is based on. That's all I got to go on at the moment. It was really great to see The Miz do what he does best on Tuesday night. Try to get the best out of Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy mic-wise, because neither one of them are great talkers. But at the same token, they don't need to be great talkers because their in-ring work is really what makes them stand apart from the rest. Randy Orton obviously delivering that RKO at the very end. You know, even Randy Orton's comments during the whole Miz TV segment were really great. You know, he wasn't buying into Miz's bullshit. You know, he and Jeff Hardy are fine. Me and Jeff Hardy were cool. You know, obviously that was a scripted line. Randy Orton didn't deliver it the best that he could, but, you know, I understood what he was trying to convey, and therefore I got what he was trying to say. There really is no animosity between the two. You know, Randy Orton just wants the United States Championship. Jeff Hardy wants to keep the United States Championship. It's a basic babyface versus babyface match. I do expect Jeff Hardy to retain the title. I don't think that they're going to move him off it or move it off of him this quick. I don't think they're going to turn Randy Orton heel, because I don't think you can turn Randy Orton heel, because unless he beats up Daniel Bryan, the fans are still going to give him a huge pop whenever he comes out. I would like to see Randy Orton as a heel. I just don't think that the fans will allow that to happen. Jeff Hardy he looks a bit beat up, but I can never tell if Jeff Hardy's actually beat up or if that's just him being really, really good at selling. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of shape he's going to be in. It's probably going to be maybe a second or third match on the card. I probably expect it to go about 10 minutes, maybe that. Jeff Hardy retains. Simple match. Moving on to what could possibly be the match of the night, seeing as how Seth Rollins continually puts on the best match of the night as long as AJ Styles is not involved in the card. Man, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor on Monday night. My God, man, can those two work or what? I think Seth Rollins is by far the MVP of Monday Night Raw for at least the last 3 months. Ever since that gauntlet match, Seth Rollins has put his name into the hat of being one of the best workers in the company. And I don't think that there's anyone that can argue that fact. I think him having the Intercontinental Championship is probably the best thing for him at this time. I do like how he kind of called out Brock Lesnar on Monday night, so I'm not exactly sure if that's going to lead into a program after he loses the Universal Championship, but I do like the fact that he mentioned that, because that, you know, plants a seed for later on down the road. And at this point on the Raw roster, who else do you have that could feasibly take on Brock Lesnar besides Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman, which is another reason to put Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley into a program together, especially if Lashley turns heel. You can keep those two occupied for at least a few months until Seth Rollins can kind of gain his composure while going after the Universal Championship after Brock Lesnar seemingly takes care of Roman Reigns again. But let's not take away the fact of how good The Miz is, all right? Ever since his program with John Cena at WrestleMania last year has just been absolutely money, no matter what he does and no matter what program he is in. He makes everyone look 1,500 times better than they actually are. He took Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel from being nobodies on Raw to being nobodies, but with the slight edge to them, being with the Miz Taraj. And the fact that the Miz Taraj is still going strong on Monday Night Raw means that they're probably going to be doing something with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel going forward. So kudos to them. I do want Seth Rollins to retain the title here. I don't want the title going over to SmackDown, so because I don't want two secondary titles being on one show, and I don't think that they will do that. But my official pick is Seth Rollins going over The Miz. Now let's move on to the match that we all thought was going to be for the Universal Championship, because we all thought that Roman Reigns was going to defeat Brock Lesnar sometime this year, but apparently that is not in the cards. And WWE have really booked themselves into a corner here. So you have Roman Reigns, who was defeated by Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. All right, so that's a major loss for him. So we all thought that Roman Reigns lost at WrestleMania, so that way they could get a really good pop for Roman at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which didn't happen at all. I mean, he got a decent pop, but it wasn't what you would expect from the guy, the top star, the big dog, as Ross Fidel would say. He was supposed to win at the Greatest Royal Rumble, we thought, anyway, but he did not, and Brock Lesnar retained. So that is continuing despite my best efforts of complaining about it. Brock Lesnar is still the Universal Champion, and so we only have Roman Reigns, the man, the top dog, the big dog, going against Samoa Joe. Now, Samoa Joe has basically given us a Paul Heyman spoiler that he is going to be beating Brock Lesnar on Sunday. I don't think that this is the case. I think that I think that Roman Reigns is going to beat Samoa Joe despite what really should happen at Backlash. And, you know, like I said, WWE booked themselves into a corner with this because neither one of these guys can really lose this match. I mean, I guess Roman Reigns can lose because he's going to get booed out of the building no matter what building he's in, despite Vince McMahon's best efforts. And I think that his stubbornness and sheer blindness to what the fans really, really do want is really hurting Roman Reigns and really hurting him in a bad way. And I think that if anyone is to blame for this whole entire Roman Reigns debacle, it is Vince McMahon. Now, that being said, Samoa Joe could win this match and even put Roman Reigns further down the list. And I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility. I just don't think that WWE will do that, and I don't think that Vince McMahon will do that either. Roman Reigns needs the win here, as much as I hate saying that, just to get him back on track if he's going to be challenging Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship again, which I'm assuming that's going to happen. If that's not going to happen, then fantastic. We can move on from that boring-ass program, and we can let Samoa Joe take the victory here and keep Samoa Joe as the dominant heel on SmackDown, eventually challenging for the WWE Championship. So my official pick is going to be Roman Reigns going over Samoa Joe, in spite of what I really want to happen, which is Samoa Joe going over Roman Reigns. Now, moving on to what would hopefully be the main event of the night, and more than likely being the match of the night, as long as Seth Rollins and The Miz don't steal the show. Now, AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against a heel Shinsuke Nakamura in a no DQ match. The no DQ coming from Shinsuke Nakamura having a really weird obsession with AJ Styles' balls. I know I keep hearing the why doesn't he just wear a cup thing? Because wrestlers don't wear cups, all right? You know, it's probably going to happen. There's probably going to be a comedic spot where Shinsuke hits a cup and, oh my gosh, his arms hurt, and then all of a sudden AJ Styles puts him into an arm bar or something. But I don't think they're going to go that route. I think that they're going to use the no DQ more to the advantage of AJ Styles in this. I do think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win, and I do think that he is going to win the WWE Championship in a manner in which the no DQ stipulation actually makes sense. But I think that they've made the no DQ stipulation because of the aggravation that AJ Styles has towards Shinsuke Nakamura and the fact that Nakamura cannot get himself disqualified by doing the whole low blow attack. AJ and Nakamura have proven that they can put on a good match at WrestleMania. They've proven that they can put on an even better match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. This will be the third match between the two of them in 1 month time. So I think that this third match should be the crescendo of this part of the feud, and I think that Shinsuke Nakamura does need to win in order to keep his heel momentum going, because he is really killing it as a heel right now. His mannerisms, the way he's doing his interviews, the way that he just seems more motivated and more determined than he ever has been in WWE. He showed a little bit of this fire when he first started at NXT, but that kind of died down a bit. But I think that this heel turn really has done wonders for Shinsuke Nakamura, and I do think that they're going to put the belt on him at Backlash. So my official pick is Shinsuke Nakamura going over AJ Styles, winning the WWE Championship in spectacular ball-smashing fashion. But what do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comments below. You can hit us up at Twitter at Miscellaneous Debris, and you can also hit us up on Facebook at Miscellaneous Debris Channel. You can also check out our movie podcast, The Weekly Bros. You can hit us up at Twitter at The Weekly Bros, or you can email us at realweeklybros@gmail.com if you have a question. And you can always hit me up at wrestlingontap@gmail.com as well if you have a question that you want to send to me, or if you want to hit me up in the comments below. You can do that as well. As always, I am Matthew from Miscellaneous Debris. You've been listening to Wrestling on Tap. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep on living that dream, and we will see you soon.